Welcome back. Let's take you straight to KwaZulu-Natal. That's where 6 suspects have been killed in a shootout with police. It took place late yesterday. We told you that we're expecting some of their bodies to be removed from the building where this exchange of fire allegedly took place. And there you have it, live visuals unfolding there just along South Beach in KwaZulu-Natal, where these suspects are now being taken out by forensics. Jayed Paulse is part of our team at the scene for us, and she is also listening in as we take in these live visuals, Jayed, and it's a bit sobering to see all of this unfolding. It just gets you a sense of just how active the scene still is.
Well, yes, Ayanda, as we spoke earlier on to the police spokesperson, Colonel Robert Netshunda, and he said that they have been tracing and tracking these 6 suspects after that shootout in Marion Hill on Sunday. And you would know that these 6 suspects, the body on the ground right now, they were linked to the murder of 5 men in Marion Hill. They were shot execution style, and this prompted police to investigate particular incident, leading them to the in South Beach, and a shootout occurred last night. Now, police have followed information on these suspects and found them hiding out in this particular building. Colonel Netshunda also told us that this particular building was paid for on Saturday. They don't know by whom, but when they did pounce on this particular building and tried to engage with the suspects, a shootout then ensued. So as you're seeing on your screens now, Ayanda, live visuals of that particular incident. You can see several bullets on the windows. Police are still, and forensic pathology services are still trying to take the bodies out. I've counted 3 bodies that have been taken out now. They have yet to take 3 more bodies out, and this is currently live visuals on your screen right now. And you know, when I engaged Colonel Netshunda about the scourge of incidents that we're seeing here, police shootouts, he did say to me that there seems to be a rise in gang activity here in KZN, Ayanda. These suspects were linked to a triple murder where 3 men were shot as well and killed near a tuck shop in the Mpumalanga township in Hammarsdale. And they were also linked on Friday evening with the robbery at a tuck shop here also in South Beach. And it's also said that the suspects were involved in an illicit drug trade. So these suspects were notorious, and through police intervention, they managed to trace them to this particular building, as you have mentioned. So as you can see, live visuals of those bodies being taken out of this building, Ayanda.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, it really is hair-raising what we're watching there, Jayed. You've been there for quite some time. What's your sense about the general activity in and around that particular building? I mean, as irony would have it, we can see in the horizon there the beach, which is obviously a very different environment to what's unfolding closer to where you're standing.
Exactly. You know, this particular apartment block is a throw away from the beach. And, you know, it was actually quite sad to see actually a group of school children who are also on an excursion. They were actually coming out of this building, so I can imagine it must have been quite traumatizing to see this particular area being cordoned off. Not yet sure of what exactly transpired. Small children walking out of this building. This is a holiday establishment, so you can rent it out. But also community members that we've engaged with, community members and people residing in this block of flats, people residing next door, were also quite shocked to learn that there were suspects, notorious suspects that were staying here. Many people very, very shocked. I'm going to see if I can't try and engage with some of them who are here. So you've been watching this unfold. What do you make of this? 6 suspects being killed.
Yeah, it's very, very hectic because these people, they've been disturbing the economic community. We find out they were terrorizing people in Marion Hill. We heard that the police, they were tracing them. At the end of the day, they end up fighting with them. Yeah, thank you very much.
Many of the community members that we've been speaking to, and this is not the only incident, but many are saying that police are really doing a good job in KZN in clamping down on crime.
Yeah, I could see the police are really trying because these people, they've been even terrorizing people. Sometimes they're coming in the shops, they're taking things, they're vandalizing, they're taking people's phones sometimes. So at least now I see the police are really working. We really appreciate.
Thank you very much for your views. Let's try and engage with some more people, community members. Sir, I see you've also standing and just watching this all unfold. 6 suspects were killed by police, notorious suspects. What do you make of this? When you say this place used to be safe, have you seen any other criminal elements creeping into South Beach?
Not at the moment, but on Queen Street on Monday, there was a shootout there as well, about 4 o'clock morning, 5 o'clock. Yeah, things are getting dangerous now.
Reside here in this area?
We work here in this area.
Is it relatively a safe area? Just talk to us about, you just said there was a shootout a few days ago. Have you heard any other incidents that have occurred here? I mean, this is literally a stone's throw away from the beach. Many tourists, visitors usually flock here.
I'm not sure about that, ma'am. I can't tell you further than that.
Okay, thank you very much for your time. There you hear Ayanda, many community members also standing outside just watching this all unfold. Like I said, I've counted 3 bodies so far. Forensic pathology services are still sweeping through this particular building and removing 3 more of those bodies. And many people, Ayanda, really in shock. Some are not sure what occurred. Some do know the notorious gang that has been operating here. Like I said, when I spoke to the SAPS earlier on, they were saying that they traced them here, and this is one of many gangs that they have been trying to find in KZN and that have been linked to various crimes in the province. Ayanda.
Yeah, Jade, we're going to try to stay with you for as long as we can and for as long as technology allows us to. Part of what Robert Njunda also told you earlier is that they're suspecting there might be some kind of turf war between the gangs themselves, which brings a whole different element of complexity and violence to their ability to clamp down on these crimes.
And I'm finding it very hard to hear in Durban today, but I think you're asking me if the crime, this particular incident just highlights the escalating of crime in the province. Look, we have seen several incidents occur. If you tally up how many shootouts have occurred, I can count 40 people thus far, 46 with these 6 suspects included, that have died in the province in shootouts with police. And this is an every week occurrence, but we've also engaged many times with Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkwanazi, who says that he has a zero-tolerance approach against criminals, against those that are not abiding by the law, and they are really trying to do all they can to try and restore KZN to its former glory. We do know that there are several areas in the province that are hotspot areas that police have been trying to make safer for communities. There's been a cry from residents in KwaZulu-Natal as well, in various areas like in Nanda and KwaMashu, even in the Durban CBD, that are asking for police to really do more. And we have seen deployment of 20,000 more police officers to try and quell the violence in the province. It's an ongoing effort. Police saying that they are trying to do as much as they can on the ground with the limited resources that they have. So we have been seeing a number of these shootouts occurring, and yes, they have also come under fire for being heavy-handed or being said to be heavy-handed. But in a province like KZN, and this is directly what Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkwanazi has said, in a province like KZN where we see these kind of all they can. So there we go. You can see on your screens right now, 4 bodies have been retrieved from this particular building, Ayanda.
Yeah, sure. As I mentioned earlier, really hair-raising visuals that we're seeing there. One can only imagine what took place during that moment itself, the fateful moment when police finally confronted these suspects, shooting ensued, and we now have 6 bodies in total, which we're expecting to have retrieved from that particular site. And I suppose, Jade, what is also really sobering is the fact that this is happening in such close proximity to people who go about their daily lives unsuspecting that there'd be individuals who are involved in the kind of criminality that these suspects were apparently linked to.
That's correct. And like you heard some of the community members saying that they're quite shocked that this occurred. But if we look at some of the crimes that these men have committed, Ayanda, I mean, we're talking about extortion, we're talking about murder here, and not just murder, but execution. The way they shot those 5 men, as I said previously, in Marion Hill, who were said to be seated on the side of the road, and these suspects pounced on them and opened up fire, shooting them. So when we look at these particular suspects in this particular case, they are notorious. They really are. And I imagine that what occurred last night, just before midnight, another body has just come out, as you can see. I imagine that this was not an easy task for the police. When I spoke to them earlier on, they did say that they walked into this particular building after getting a tip-off that the suspects were hiding in this establishment since Saturday, Ayanda. And when they walked in, these suspects opened fire on police, and that's how the shootout occurred.
Yeah. Generally speaking, I mean, Jayed, you've already tallied for us the number of suspects who've been killed in the past few weeks, dare I say, you putting that number at around 46 now. But what's your general sense around how ordinary residents throughout the province are feeling about what seems to be a much more aggressive approach taken by police in trying to clamp down on criminality there?
Well, it's just last week we also saw police also, arresting a lot of illegal, undocumented foreign nationals in this particular area. And when we engaged with the PC, Police Commissioner, I posed a question and I asked him that, police have been called out for being heavy-handed in this. Some community members are saying that, we hear of these shootouts all the time, but we don't get reports from IPID to actually tell us what exactly occurred. And he said to me that, we are finding it very difficult as police to engage with criminals. Police themselves have to be very vigilant when they approach suspects. And in this case, as you heard the Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi saying, as well as the spokesperson for KZN SAPS, Colonel Nechunda, he was saying that when they arrived here, they opened up fire. So there has been a talk amongst community members about the approach of police, but the police are saying that they are really doing all they can. And like you said, and we tallied up that number of 46 in the last couple of months, Ayanda, this is but what they have told us with regards to the shootouts. And community members on the ground, they are happy. Many residents, I mean, you can just take to social media. If you look at some of the comments on X, if you look at some of the comments on Facebook, people are really applauding the police for doing their work, applauding the police for trying to take criminal elements off the streets of KZN, and applauding the police for also, working tirelessly to track down these criminals, track down gangs, and, bring these gangs to book. So they really are trying by all means to try and clamp down on these criminal elements that we have been experiencing in the province. I have now tallied 6 bodies, Ayanda, so forensic pathology services are done and have completed their task. They'll now be moving the bodies to the mortuary. So yeah, that's the sentiments on the ground by community members. Many are happy and have applauded the police for really doing all they can to make KZN a safer place. As you know, KZN, we have political violence, we have a lot of criminal elements, we've got gangsterism, and it's really marred so many communities who have been living in fear, who have been calling out on police to come and clean up their areas. Community members that I've spoken to when I've done many stories on the ground are saying that they can't walk out at night, that they have to continuously phone their loved ones continuously be in contact with loved ones that work late shifts and continuously have to worry about loved ones. But with the efforts of police on the ground, it is comforting to them, and it's comforting to know that there are SAPs that are doing all they can to make KZN a safer place.
All right, Jayed Paulse are doing an excellent job there, reporting live from the scene of the latest shooting between suspected criminals and police in KwaZulu-Natal. This time, it's all unfolding along South Beach in Durban. That's where 6 suspected extortionists and murderers have been shot dead after exchanging fire with police late last night into the early hours of this morning. And what we've spent doing over the past couple of minutes is showing you their bodies being removed from the apartment building where they apparently took refuge and are now being taken by forensic pathology services officials to a state morgue, we suspect, for the rest of the due diligence to unfold moving forward. Of course, this is not a new story, especially in KwaZulu-Natal. We've certainly watched a number of these incidents unfold in the weeks gone by. It sparked a really charged debate about whether or not the approach by police is the right one, especially when we consider what justice demands. Typically speaking, these suspects should be hauled before a court of law, tried and found guilty if in fact they have been linked to these crimes beyond reasonable doubt. And I suppose people who are concerned about the trend is that we simply don't have an opportunity to do that when they land up in body bags. The other side of the debate, of course, is equally convinced that police should continue with their approach. In fact, police themselves have been quoted as saying that if anybody is going to die in these shootouts, let it not be the men and women in blue who are doing their jobs. We'll let you decide whether or not, of course, this is the way to go. But that's the situation, at least as it unfolds in Durban.